following is a presentation of Main Street Media, your source for news, sports, and information on Main Street in Middle Tennessee. Welcome into this Thursday edition of Main Street Sports. Today on the program, we'll be joined in the Coach's Corner by Westmoreland boys basketball coach CHERIE ABNER as she talks about her new gig. Also, we'll be joined by Jeff CALKINS with the Daily Memphian. Little Memphis Grizzlies conversation. Tiger got his start this morning at Augusta, and it's opening day for Major League Baseball, a full Braves preview. The guys are geeked out on this opening day. It's a holiday, and we're glad to be with you here on Main Street Sports today for this Thursday, April the 7th, 2022. Now to the Hall of Famer and Sports Writer of the Year, Mo Patton, and the Sundrop Kid from Alabama, Chris Yao. Happy opening day, fellas. Well, Mo, are you talking?
Yeah, I am. Chris is not talking, so welcome into Thursday's edition of Main Street Sports Today. I'm Maurice Patton alongside the silent Chris Yao and JP Plant pushing the buttons and connecting some of the cables. As JP told you, we're going to be speaking here in the next segment on Coach's Corner, presented by From the Heart Cafe over in Chapel Hill, with newly named Westmoreland boys basketball coach CHERIE Stivers. Looking forward to that. In the second hour, we will have Jeff CALKINS of the Daily Memphian catching up on some Memphis Grizzlies stuff. Also going to talk a little Braves, because that's what we do, especially considering in about 5 hours, the defending World Series champions will be taking the field at Truist Field against the Cincinnati Reds. Truist Park, excuse me. Are you good?
All right, keep vamping. Let me work on that.
Okay. I'll just keep trying to fill here because we. What's the top story? Top story. You might have heard Chris distantly, but we will move on to our top story. Apparently, the lawsuit brought by former Miami Dolphins coach Brian Flores, the Tennessee Titans are kind of getting caught up in some of the fallout from that, because an interview with Ray Rhodes, former head coach of the Green Bay Packers, has been termed recently by Coach Rhodes as a sham. Now, he said coming out of the interview, and Titans reporter, Titans beat writer Paul Kuharsky at paulkuharsky.com is saying that Rhodes was pleased with the interview immediately. I'm sorry. Horton, I'm sorry. What? Yeah, Ray Horton. Excuse me, not Ray Rhodes. Not former Green Bay Packers coach. Ray Horton, longtime NFL assistant. Ray Horton had said that he was pleased with the interview coming out of it to Kuharsky. So there's a little question there, obviously, and that's something we'll get into more later in the show, hopefully, if Chris is able to talk. Do we just need to share a mic? Here, one mic. It's kind of like that Steve Harvey. Always come back to the mic. Yeah, we're efforting to make Chris's golden tones available here. Apparently, the studio was broken down following yesterday's show and did not. Nope. Nah. JP, do we want to just go ahead and go to the rundown and then address this during the break? Keep. I'm about out. Okay. All right. There we go. According to an Associated Press report, 2 black coaches joined Brian Flores on Thursday in his lawsuit alleging racist hiring practices by the NFL toward coaches and general managers. The updated lawsuit added coaches Steve Wilkes and Ray Horton, which at least one of those makes perfectly good sense because Steve Wilkes was hired by the Cardinals and held the head coaching position there for 1 season. I think it was the 2017 season before he was dismissed in favor of Cliff Kingsbury. Wilkes alleges he was discriminated against by the Cardinals in 2018. Horton claims he was subjected to discriminatory treatment when he interviewed for the Tennessee Titans head coach position in January of 2016. So, Wilkes, in a release from his attorneys, said he hoped the lawsuit would help bring racial equity to the league. When Coach Flores filed this action, I knew I owed it to myself and to all black NFL coaches and aspiring coaches to stand with him. This lawsuit has shed further important light on a problem that we all know exists, but that too few are willing to confront. Black coaches and candidates should have exactly the same ability to become employed and remain employed as white coaches and candidates. Article goes on to say Horton says he was, quote, devastated and humiliated when he learned that his interview with the Titans was a sham. By joining this case, I'm hoping to turn that experience into a positive, make lasting change, and create true equal opportunity in the future. The NFL declined to comment. I'm shocked. Messages sent to the Cardinals and Titans for comment were not immediately returned. I'm shocked. Flores filed his suit on February 1st after he was fired in January by the Dolphins, having led the Dolphins to a 24-25 record over 3 years, including a 9-8 finish this past year, their second straight winning season. He's since been hired as an assistant coach by the Pittsburgh Steelers. So we were going to talk more about this later in the show, but I'm not sure we'll need to.
Tab right next to it.
Let's see. Yeah, I got you. Hang on. So, again, on paulkoharski.com, the day after Malarkey was officially named coach, this again was in 2016. No, when was this? Okay. Horton joined the Titans in 2014 as a defensive coordinator under Whisenhunt, remained the play caller in 2015, even as his mentor, Hall of Famer Dick LeBeau, joined the staff. When Malarkey took over in 2016, he wanted LeBeau to call the defense. Horton asked out to take a job in Cleveland. Horton alleges that when the Titans interviewed him when Malarkey was interim coach before he was elevated, that it was a sham to fulfill the Rooney Rule and that Malarkey said as much in a podcast. The day after Malarkey was officially named coach, John Wooden of the Fritz Pollard Alliance told the Tennessean that Horton felt overshadowed and insulted for not being initially consulted for the head job. In response to that, Horton searched me out. Again, this is at paulkoharski.com. In response to that, Horton searched me out at ESPN and told me something entirely different. I'm not insulted. I was very happy Ms. Amy Adams-Strunk gave me an interview. I think she was very impressed with me. I was told some ideas I gave are going to be implemented. I'm still in the contract. I'm talking about a contract extension. The insulted comment is not true. I'm very happy. I was very happy to be interviewed. So. Meanwhile, back at the ranch.
Check one. Hey, there it is. So apparently it is the, I have no idea what it is.
Okay.
Welcome back, Cotter.
Dreams are your ticket.
Well, guess we'll get to the rundown later in the show. Maybe during halftime. JP's
It'll be a long halftime instead of a short halftime.
It will be, in fact. But anyway, so yeah, I was glad to hear all that, Mo. Great stuff. Great stuff. Thought you did a great job.
Well, I did what I could do. I'm just glad that we got your golden tones on the airwaves, because I wasn't looking forward to doing a show solo, as it were.
All right, here we go. Let's take let's just take a break. Let's just get out of this. Let's get CHERIE ABNER in here, and let's talk a little bit about Westmoreland. So take a quick break. We'll be back on Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint, right after this. Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint treats your orthopedic injuries and existing conditions. Our trained physicians will get you back in the game faster. Contact us at 931-381-2663 or www.mtbj.net. Hey folks, while we take a quick break from the show, I want to tell you about our friends over at Custom Stone Handlers in downtown Columbia. Ed Rich and his team at Custom Stone Handlers believe in leadership. And outside of the military, our greatest leader building platform is sports. Custom Stone Handlers proudly encourages young people to get in the game. You can contact them today at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com.
Jones & Lang Sporting Goods here in Columbia has been outfitting teams, officials, and anybody else from T-ball to college for 50-plus years. Be sure and check them out at 931-388-8060 or online at jonesandlang.com. Jones & Lang Sporting Goods, the look of a winner.
Zion Christian Academy, ZionEagles.org or 931-388-5731. You can schedule your appointment. Go tour their campus. It is beautiful over there, and you're definitely going to want to see it. Again, it's ZionEagles.org. Give them a call, 931-388-5731, and schedule your tour today.
Are you an enthusiastic sports fan? Want to have fun and get in on the action?
Heck yes, that'd be awesome.
Have great attention to detail? Want to stay active?
Definitely.
Want to give back to the student athletes in your community?
Obviously, yes.
Then you'd make an excellent high school sports official. We need more officials in Tennessee, because with no high school officials, there are no high school sports. Sign up today at highschoolofficials.com.
Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint has been the official sports medicine provider for Maury County Schools for more than 40 years. We specialize in orthopedic injuries, and our Ortho Quick walk-in service lets you bypass the ER. Visit us online at www.mtbj.net. Welcome back in. It is Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. I'm Chris Yao, and I'm back alongside Mo Patton, JP Plant, getting us back on the air here. This is good. We figured it out. We know what the problem is, and luckily next week we won't have to worry about it, JP. Man, what a Thursday it has been already. Thank you guys for hanging out with us and braving through that first segment. But now we get a chance to talk to our esteemed guest who is joining us on this Throwback Thursday for the Sounds later today, by the way. But on Coach's Corner, presented by From the Heart Cafe out in Chapel Hill, Renee Hart and the fine folks out there keeping you good and fed. If you are on your way to Henry Horton State Park, or you're just looking for a place to, maybe you're on your, maybe you're headed out to a popular breakfast spot out that way and it's a little crowded or a little busy, just drive a little bit further and you will not be disappointed when you hit From the Heart Cafe in Chapel Hill. Go see Renee Hart. She is fantastic. And on Coach's Corner today, we have newly named Westmoreland's boys basketball coach, CHERIE ABNER, on the line with us. Coach, Welcome in. How are you?
I'm doing good. How are y'all?
We're doing well, Coach. Appreciate you taking some time with us. And got to tell you, Coach, as Chris was kind of doing a little show prep, he realized that Cherie Abner, formerly Cherie Stivers, Nashville Christian girls basketball standout. So I think it's got to be pretty nice to have been able to kind of pass along some of the secrets from your playing career into over a very successful coaching career that you've had, and glad to have you with us.
Well, I'm glad to be here today on the show, and thank you for having me.
Coach, obviously this is a unique situation. You started your career at Westmoreland as the girls basketball coach. You've made your way around, and now to be the Westmoreland boys coach, and what you said on the article on MainStreetPreps.com from Tommy Bryan, it's kind of a full circle moment for you.
Absolutely. A lot of people don't get to start your career at a place and then come full circle and hopefully end my career at the same place at Westmoreland. So it is quite the unique opportunity, and I'm looking forward to it.
When I saw this, it's unusual to see a female be named a boys basketball coach. And I asked Mo, because he's been doing this a long time and covering high school sports in Middle Tennessee. And I obviously didn't know of any others. He did mention there was at least one other female who was a boys basketball coach, but it's a unique situation that you find yourself in. How do you take this on as a female in the boys basketball world?
Well, the opportunity happened when Rick Duffer called me and just said that he was going to have an opening as the boys coach, and if I had any interest. And, I told him immediately that I was interested. Westmoreland's a small school, and I just had a lot of success there, and it was really hard leaving, and I've missed it from time to time. And I thought, hey, this is kind of an opportunity for me to do something different. I kind of don't really back down to many challenges, and I thought, hey, this is going to be a big challenge. But it was just one of those opportunities that I thought that I was definitely interested in pursuing.
Coach, is this a situation that you would have necessarily taken on someplace else, given the success that you have had at Westmoreland, the familiarity that people have there with you? It would seem like, you don't have anything to prove to anybody up there.
I absolutely think that's the majority of it. I left in good graces, and I was very successful up there, and that had a lot to do with my players and how hard they played, and my reputation was pretty much kind of a winner's reputation, and so that was most of the reason that I took that job. There's probably no way I would take a boys job at any other school. So that definitely gave me the confidence to kind of pursue something that no other coach typically would pursue. So I definitely think that's a big part of it.
You walk in there with some street cred.
Yeah, exactly. So, and I think I'm going to need that. So a lot of people's reached out and very, very supportive. And when things don't go good, I hope that female head don't, pop up, and that's the reason. But, I'm confident in being able to do a good job up there at Westmoreland.
You launched the program at the girls basketball program at Green Hill. And this is, again, like you said, Westmoreland's a very small school. Green Hill, not so small. What are the challenges or the differences in, moving from a large school back to a small school?
Well, in opening Green Hill, I just don't think people realize how hard it is to open a new school and start that tradition and all the things you go through in opening a new school. So I think I've aged about 10 years in 2 years. But, I've learned a lot in the process of doing it. And it's been hard. I'm not going to say it hasn't, but it's been rewarding in the same fact. But I am definitely a small school teacher and coach, and Green Hill's just a big school, and I'm looking forward to making that change back. And that was part of my decision making too. I just like the fit of the smaller environment, and definitely a little bit more of the rural versus the city.
Westmoreland 8-20 this past season, advanced to the Region 3 2A quarterfinals before falling to eventual state tournament participant York Institute. You talk about the challenges, and these aren't all gender related. I mean, this is a team that's got some work to do regardless of who the coach was going to be. Going to be a little easier for you though, because you're taking somebody with you.
I am, and I think you can't pass up on a six. That's probably my biggest challenge. But in respect, that's what's going to drive me to turn it around too.
I would think 6'6", 220 plays at the Class 2A level, though. What year will he be?
He'll be a junior.
Okay, so you'll have 2 years with him.
Yes, sir.
That's like Chris said, that's got to be pretty exciting. I mean, we talk about parents coaching their kids, but it's a special dynamic here, obviously. But how much discussion went into that for you all as a family, that you're going to be transferring for one thing, and you're going to be playing for me?
Well, honestly, we gave him the option. I mean, he's at a point where he needs to be making his own decisions, and he just asked me, what's my plans, and I told him basically I had several options, and then when it came down to it, I just told him I was going to take the Westmoreland boys job, and it was up to him. And he said, I'm going to come with you. And I said, well, that's the best news I've heard. So, and for our family in general, it's the best option. I'm just glad it worked out and didn't have to twist that arm too much.
There you go. It's always nice when your kids want to be around you, especially
no doubt.
Especially at 16 years old.
Check back with me. Exactly. Check back with me after a year and see if it's the same. I hope.
Check back with you after summer camp, Coach.
He may be on his way back. No, CHERIE Abner here, Westmoreland boys basketball coach and newly named, and want to again thank you, Coach, for taking some time with us. We appreciate it, and looking forward to watching your teams coming up this fall and winter.
I really appreciate you having me on today, and let's do it again sometime.
Absolutely. That is Coach CHERIE Abner on Coach's Corner, presented by From the Heart Cafe here in Chapel Hill. Go see Renee Hart and the folks taking good care of you with some of the best desserts in and around the area. Mo, let's hand out some hardware before we take this next break. What do you say?
Let's do it.
All right. Our In to Win Life team of the week. You got to see them play in their opening round pool play game against Columbia Academy.
Really good ball game. 1-0 Summertown victory there in pool play. They wound up going unbeaten in pool play and in bracket play until they got to the finals on Saturday evening, where they fell to a really good Wilson Central team and a really good pitcher. Lost 3-0 in the finals there, but a great run last weekend by Summertown in that Brentwood Invitational to lock down the In to Win Life Team of the Week honors this week.
Summertown softball certainly making some noise with that win over CA, and I mean their run to the finals was pretty impressive. beating some pretty good softball teams on the way to that finals appearance. Our MTBJ, Mid Tennessee Bone and Joint Player of the Week this week, staying in softball, but going a little farther south than us, coming north from Summertown, south from us.
There we go. Yeah, sophomore pitcher, right?
Yes.
Ashley Coble from Zion Christian is our MTBJ Player of the Week. Struck out 14 in a one-hit shutout victory last week over South Haven. Also went 5 for 9 at the plate with a home run and 4 ribs. So getting it done in the circle and at the plate. Ashley Coble, our MTBJ Player of the Week.
Yeah, we're going to be saying that name a lot throughout the spring, I got a feeling. So looking forward to keeping up with Ashlea, and congratulations to her for being the Player of the Week. Again, Into Win Life Team of the Week, Summertown Softball, MTBJ Player of the Week, Ashlea Coble, and thanks again to CHERIE Abner for joining us on Coach's Corner, presented by From the Heart Cafe. We're going to take a quick break here. When we come back, we'll check in on Tiger and some other folks like Danny Willett. Go Gamecocks.
Stay cocky, right?
That's right, baby. Fear the beak. Yeah, so we'll check in on the Masters and see what's going on. So stick around here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid Tennessee Bone and Joint. Back after this. Mid Tennessee Bone and Joint treats your orthopedic injuries and existing conditions. Our trained physicians will get you back in the game faster. Contact us at 931-381-2663 or www.mtbj.net. Hey folks, while we take a quick break from the show, I want to tell you about our friends over at Custom Stone Handlers in downtown Columbia. Ed Rich and his team at Custom Stone Handlers believe in leadership. And outside of the military, our greatest leader building platform is sports. Custom Stone Handlers proudly encourages young people to get in the game. You can contact them today at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com.
Jones & Lang Sporting Goods here in Columbia has been outfitting teams, officials, and anybody else from T-ball to college for 50-plus years. Be sure and check them out at 931-388-8060 or online at jonesandlang.com. Jones & Lang Sporting Goods, the look of a winner.
Zion Christian Academy, ZionEagles.org or 931-388-5731. You can schedule your appointment. Go tour their campus. It is beautiful over there, and you're definitely going to want to see it. Again, it's ZionEagles.org. Give them a call, 931-388-5731, and schedule your tour today.
A game without a crowd is just a scrimmage. A performance without an audience is just a rehearsal. Without your presence, high school sports and the performing arts aren't possible. Ensure that these essential extracurricular activities continue to enrich the lives of students in Tennessee. Purchase a ticket to your local high school's game or performance.
This message presented by the TSSAA.
Mid Tennessee Bone and Joint has been the official sports medicine provider for Murray County Schools for more than 40 years. We specialize in orthopedic injuries, and our Ortho Quick walk-in service lets you bypass the ER. Visit us online at www.mtbj.net. Welcome back in to Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid Tennessee Bone and Joint. Cristiano Patton, JP Plant with you here on this Throwback Thursday edition. I don't know why it's Throwback Thursdays. It's opposite Thursday, as Mo is wearing the red cap, blue bill, and I've got the blue cap, red bill.
You've also got on the red T-shirt, and I've got on the...
I'm going to wear that Saturday because it's supposed to be kind of chilly, but on Sunday, 71 and sunny. Sunny and 72 at the Truist Park.
We'll take it.
So heck yeah, I will. So
Take it.
I might have to wear this shirt again. This is my Ray Fulcher shirt. Braves are going to have another year like they did in '95.
Had another
That's right.
year.
They did have, but they're going to have another one like they did in 2021.
I'm getting it started tonight.
That's right.
Yeah.
The Masters commenced early today, and through the first 6 holes, Tiger Woods looked like he was just on fire. He parred the first 5, and then on the par 3 6, I don't know if you saw his tee shot, but it was a gimme. I mean, he put it within 2-3 feet of the hole. I mean, on the money. A lot of folks watching the camera that shoots back with the crowd in the background. I mean, folks' eyes were getting pretty big, thinking that ball's going in, and it died just before the hole. But boy, it was heck of a shot. And then he found himself struggling and got back to even on 9 after that par 3 put him 1 under. He went 1 over between 7 and 8, and then on 9 was back to even. But the leader right now on through 15 holes is Cam Smith, the Australian from Brisbane, 5 under par through 15. And Sungjae M, I think is how you say it, Sungjae M at 4 under already, just through 7 holes. This dude is killing it right now, which again, you know, the first 6 holes have seemed to be fairly normal for everybody. A lot of pars in those first 6. So we'll see how he plays out throughout the rest of the day. But tied for 3rd, we have 4 players. You've got Daniel Berger, Joaquin Niemann, Scotty Scheffler, and the 2016 Masters champion, Danny Willett, sitting at 3 under par. Willett through 17 so far, so he'll be on the 18th hole. Pretty good opening round for a guy that a lot of folks forget won a Masters. I mean, he's the first tweet that comes up about him on his on Twitter is, what does it tell us that it's so easy to forget Danny Willett is a past Masters champion? So, you know, it is interesting how, you know, kind of how the Masters works, because there are a lot of folks out there who win this thing and you kind of just forget that they were good once. It's interesting.
One-hit wonders, huh?
It's kind of like the Daytona 500, you know. It's such a daunting course that it seems like anybody can win it. And I know that sounds weird, but it's because, I mean, if you just have a good week of golf, that's all you need.
Just have a good week of golf.
You just have to have 2 or 3 days where you don't screw up, because everybody else probably will. I mean, there are very few times do you see what Tiger did, you know, in '98, where he just destroyed all competition. That just doesn't happen at the Masters. You know, it's typically something random, and you know, the person who ends up winning it is just kind of the one who survives. And right now, obviously, it's early. It's day 1. I don't think anybody's through 18 yet. So, but so far, so good for Tiger. He seems to have, you know, gotten off to a solid start. And, you know, the fact is, when you look at this leaderboard, most people are scrolling down until they see Woods, right?
Yeah, and I mean, we talked about that earlier this week when we had Virgil Herring on to talk about the Masters. You know, as long as Tiger's playing well, that's going to be certainly one of the top stories out of Augusta is, where is he, and is he in contention?
And for those wondering, Rory McIlroy just teed off moments ago. He's through 3 and he's 1 under. Dustin Johnson through 5, also 1 under. And was it Justin Thomas that we had the pick let's see here. I don't see Justin Thomas on the leaderboard anywhere. So that's not good. Yeah, I mean, there he is, 2 over through 14, along with Bubba Watson, who is 2 over through 7. So, again, Augusta National always finds a way to humble you, and humbles even those great golfers.
To be fair, though, I mean, 2 over through 14.
No,
it's not the worst place to be in the world.
No, I mean, that's cut worthy, but it's still interesting. When you look at some of these names and you go, okay, well, Scotty Scheffler's 3 under, Jason Kochrick is 3 under. Sorry, man. Thank you. Harry Higgs, the 30-year-old from Camden, New Jersey, is through. And young dude. I mean, I say young. He's 1 under for the day. He'll go into tomorrow at 1 under, and a lot of folks looking at him to be one of those guys who throws a wrench into the cut, because he's going to take a spot away from somebody.
You're right. Yeah. It's kind of like when you talk about the NCAAs and bubble teams and that kind of thing.
Exactly what it is. You got to be careful for those. I mean, those are the top guys that you have to find a way to get around.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm interested to see how this works out. We've been kind of watching it this morning, and again, following Tiger and his group, but let's see if we have an update. Tiger's still through 15. So he's not, he's on the 16th though. So that's always fun. This is the hole where Tiger came out of the rough and hit the chip shot. And Vern Lundquist was like, "In your life, have you ever seen anything like that?" One of the great lines, one of the great calls of Masters history. So, always fun. Looking forward to the rest of the weekend for Masters. JP, we're going to take an early break because we got the rundown to get to. And so we're going to do that during halftime, and I want to give us as much time as we possibly need to get to it. So we'll be back on Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint, right after this to give you today's rundown. This is Chris Yao with Main Street Sports Today. Every show, Mo Patton and I welcome friends from all across the sports landscape, from high school coaches and reporters to national, college, and pro sports personalities. You never know who might stop by for a chat. AP Tennessee sports editor, 3-time Tennessee Sports Writer of the Year 2020 TSWA Hall of Famer. She covers the Titans, the Predators, the Grizzlies, college football, and hoops. Please make welcome Teresa Walker.
Former University of Tennessee, former Team USA Olympian, ex-Cy Young Award winner, R.A. Dickey. R.A., did I miss anything?
Man, that was sweet. Yeah, I need to listen to that before I go to bed every night. That was nice.
Has 5 sports Emmys. That's not bad for the other guy in Wham, Ryan McGee.
The other guy in Wham married the best looking girl in Bananarama, so the other guy in Wham had a pretty good life.
From preps to pros, we're taking on the sports topics you care about. Tune in across Main Street Media social platforms at 2 p.m. or on demand on your podcast distribution platform of choice. All right, Mo, you ready? Let's hit today's rundown.
This is the rundown.
Oh, are we doing it?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
JP doesn't have a microphone.
Oh, my bad. Okay. In baseball on Wednesday, Hendersonville defeated Gallatin 14-10. It was Oakland 14, Nolensville 9, Riverdale with 12-0 win over Rockvale. Beach defeated Station Camp 6-0, and Summit down Columbia Central 5-1. In softball, Greenbrier with the 14-4 victory over Davidson Academy. And in the International League, Durham evens its series with the host Nashville Sounds, winning 9-4, despite John Singleton's second home run in as many nights.
I know. How about John Singleton? Today's schedule at 4:30, Brentwood Academy hosting Father Ryan at a time unknown to us. Franklin is at Centennial. Clarksville hosting Gallatin at 3 o'clock. It's Christian County, Kentucky at Northeast at 4 p.m. Tennessee Monarchs will be at Columbia Academy. That's the first pitch at 6:30. At 4:30 today, it's CPA hosting Innsworth and Culleoka hosting East Hickman at 6 o'clock. And at 4:30, again, it's Friendship Christian at DeKalb County.
At 6:30 tonight, Stewart's Creek is at Dixon County. Mount Pleasant travels to Eagleville, TBA. Christian Community is at Ezel Harding at 5:30. At 6:30, Hopkinsville, Kentucky is at Gallatin. Also at 6:30, Greenbrier hosts Sycamore.
At 5 o'clock, first pitch, Hampshire hosting Cornersville. Loretto's at Hardin County at 6:30. It's Hillwood hosting Knights Academy at 4:30. Independence at home against Ravenwood at 6:30. East Robertson is at Joe Burns with the first pitch at 5 o'clock. Lawrence County is hosting TBA. It's a 5 o'clock start. So
that could be a tough one.
I have no idea who it is, but if you get there, tell us.
Hang on a second.
You've got their schedule, so that might help us. And then MBA is hosting Lipscomb Academy. That's at 4:30. Laverne is at MTCS. That's a 6:30 first pitch. Green Hill at Mount Juliet at 7 o'clock.
Forest is at Lawrence County at 8 o'clock tonight.
At 8 o'clock?
8 o'clock tonight. Yeah, they are hosting a tournament. They in Summertown.
Oh, that's why it's a TBA.
Yeah, Lewis County is at Summertown. No, that's wrong. Collinwood is at Summertown at 3:30. Richland plays Spring Hill at Lawrence County at 3:30. At 5, Spring Hill plays Forest at Lawrence County. 5:45. At 5:45, Wayne County plays Loretto at Summertown. And then, again, at 8 o'clock, Forest is at Lawrence County, and Richland plays Laverne at Summertown.
Well, I'm glad you got that because none of that was in this schedule. So good for us to have that. If you want to start with Brentwood and Nolensville.
Brentwood is at Nolensville at 6:30. Clarksville Academy travels to Pope Prep at 5:30. At 4, Hopkinsville is at Rossview. Beach travels to Springfield at 6 o'clock. At 7, Station Camp hosts White House. Macon County is at Westmoreland at 6:30. Portland is at White House Heritage at 6:30. At 4 o'clock, Whites Creek hosts Glencliff. And at 6:30, big Wilson County rivalry as the Blue Devils of Lebanon travel to the Wildcats of Wilson Central.
And softball action this afternoon, Harpeth Hall at Brentwood Academy at 4:30. First pitch also at 4:30 is Antiochs at Cane Ridge, and Clarksville Academy hosting Goodpasture. At 5 o'clock, it's Summit at Columbia Central. At 6, you can catch Gallatin at Beach, and then it's also at 6, Cornersville hosting Eagleville. And at 6:30, Oakland at Blackman.
At 4:30 this evening, Mount Juliet Christian is at Franklin Road Academy. Davidson Academy is at Friendship Christian. At 4, Glencliff is at Hillwood. At 5 o'clock, you've got Creekwood taking on visiting Dixon County. Also, Donaldson Christian hosting Martin Luther King. And at 6, Mount Juliet travels to Green Hill.
4:30 first pitch is Lipscomb Academy hosting Innsworth, and Middle Tennessee Christian hosting Columbia Academy. At 5 o'clock, Loretto's at Mount Pleasant, Ezel Harding at Nashville Christian, and Zion Christian at Riverside Christian, as well as Santa Fe hosting Culleoka. At 7 o'clock tonight, Tullahoma at Lawrence County. If you don't have anything going on tonight, just go to Lawrenceburg because they're going to be there all day and all night long.
Everything's in Lawrenceburg. 4:30 this evening, Christ Presbyterian Academy plays at St. Cecilia. At 5 o'clock, Smith County is at Westmoreland. Also, Cheatham County is at White House Heritage. 5:30, Springfield takes on visiting Clarksville. At 6, you've got Station Camp hosting Hendersonville. At 6:30, you've got Riverdale at Siegel and Page at Smyrna. Also at 5:30, Joe Burns travels to Trousdale County.
High school soccer action. All right, at 6 o'clock, first touch, it's Wayne County at Culleoka and Dixon County hosting Spring Hill, as well as Marshall County hosting Lawrence County. At 6:30, Brentwood Academy is at CPA, and at 7 o'clock, you can catch Wilson Central at Laverne or Mount Juliet hosting Cookeville.
5 o'clock, first touch is Mount Juliet Christian is at Nashville Christian. Lebanon goes to Smyrna. At 6, Watertown takes on visiting Jackson County. At 7, Glencliff is at Murfreesboro Central. Also, Columbia Central travels to Station Camp, and Spring Hill will play at White House.
Pro sports tonight. NHL action. The Preds are at Ottawa. The 6 o'clock puck drop on Valley Sports South. And NBA action. The Grizzlies are at the Nuggets. We'll talk about that later in the show with Jeff CALKINS. 8 o'clock tip-off. That's on Valley Sports Net. Baseball action, minor league action at 6:35. First pitch, you can catch the Sounds at home. It is Throwback Thursday, so Mo, you can wear your jersey and get in for free because they'll think you're a player.
No, they won't.
They'll host the Bulls. Again, that's a 6:35 first pitch. And tonight, of course, it is opening day for Major League Baseball, and the Atlanta Braves are at home against the Cincinnati Reds. A 7 o'clock first pitch on the Deuce, ESPN2. And that is your rundown. Whew. How JP does that by himself, I will never know.
He is a trooper.
Anyway,
he's getting a break today, though.
He did get a break today, but that's okay. We will we'll take a quick break. Come back second half on Main Street Sports Day, presented by Mid Tennessee Bone and Joint. We'll talk a little bit about what Ronald Acuna had to say about his former teammate, because to be honest with you, a lot of folks feeling like they can open up about their true feelings these days. So anyway, we'll be back after this.
Welcome in, everybody, to another fantastic edition of Mornings on Main Street. Fun show planned for today. Please tell me you know who this is.
Of course I know who it is. I mean, I just want you, let's say it together.
You have no idea, do you?
Your car broke down, you're walking.
That's true.
Hey, what
is this thing on?
Hold on a second, Chris. Hey, what did I tell you about comedy?
You're right.
Let's do comedy.
Make sure that's funny.
It gotta be funny. I figure it's easier. It's harder for you to say no if we do this live.
I'm still waiting to meet you with the crystal, so I'll take anything.
We'll get it all done there. Thank you. As the voice of the crowd will be me as Bob Hope, and has that cute well with the pearl necklace is.
So I'm going to be Russell Brand, and I just want to go ahead and give a preface of it might be really annoying. So
okay,
all right,
it's preface. Preface is what happens when your girlfriend's going out on the town, and you're like, "Hey, get ready." It's like, "I put my face on." Grilled ground lamb and beef wrapped in lavish and topped with a savory tomato
it's
sauce.
Lavash.
What is that?
Lavash.
I told you, you're dealing with the redneck country boy on this side over here of the screen.
That's okay.
It's time now for the second half of Main Street Sports Today. We've got Jeff CALKINS coming up in the second half talking Memphis Grizzlies hoops. We'll also talk about the Atlanta Braves tonight. They host the Cincinnati Reds. We'll also talk about the Titans podcast. The tour starts soon. Where will it start? We'll tell you all coming up in the second half of Main Street Sports Today. Now back to me, the Sundrop Kid with the Hall of Famer, Patton. I feel like like on The Voice when Blake Shelton does this to get people to pick him. That's me.
And that will be the last time you hear Blake Shelton and Chris Yao compared to each other.
We both have the same necklace.
Okay.
We share a similar necklace. That's all I know.
Okay.
In memoriam of one of our friends.
Chris, while you go to the Main Street Murray website to educate yourself on one of this segment's topics, news broke yesterday, and apparently Ronald Acuna Jr. did a Instagram interview with a reporter from the Dominican Republic, during which he basically said he was asked, what will you miss about Freddie Freeman? And his response was nothing. Well, actually, his response was nada, which is nothing in Spanish.
Mhm.
But I mean, who's surprised?
You know, you never saw Freddie and Ronnie really interact much. And a lot of folks, and it probably had a lot to do with the language barrier, but
you know what? I'm not going to hear that, because Ronald used an interpreter in post game and different things like that. I think a lot of the times the Spanish speaking ball players can speak enough English to be understood and to understand their teammates in a teammate to teammate scenario. They may not be comfortable enough in an interview situation to try to speak English, but
my point being, they're not going to have a conversation in the dugout because, again, it's easier to have a conversation between Ozzie and Ronnie because they both speak. I do think the language barrier kept them from being besties. But the big thing that kept them from being besties
thank you.
was the fact that Freddie Freeman, and we heard this last year, was overbearing. He forced guys to play every single day.
Well, not just that, but I mean, there was an incident during the playoffs. Was it last year? Was it? No, it wasn't last year, because Ronald didn't play in the playoffs last year. 2 years ago, I guess, against St. Louis, where he probably didn't go as hard as he should have on a ball.
The hustle.
Yeah.
thing.
And the hustle thing came back up. And, I think that some of the things that took place between Freddie and the rest of the Braves team were things that wouldn't have taken place under Bobby Cox, because Bobby kept all that stuff in-house. You didn't hear any of that. And you certainly didn't hear players calling other players out in the media. And
no, they were just calling out the fans.
Well, that's there was that. But, I mean, all that stuff was squashed. We're going to handle that in here. We're not taking this out there, united front and all that stuff. And the fact that it was allowed to get out.
Well, that's part of the Brian Snitker experience. Is he's a lot of these players' buddy. That's why people like to play for Snit, because he's their buddy.
Well, that's why some people like to play for Snit, because apparently you were also creating issues while being buddies, because you were letting, there's something to be said probably for letting the veterans police the clubhouse until the veterans are policing the clubhouse.
Well, and
again, the issue that we saw come out late last year about folks being guilted into playing at times when maybe a day off wouldn't have been the worst thing. And sometimes Freddie probably should have taken one. I'll go back to that St. Louis series when he probably shouldn't have been playing with that elbow.
Probably not. I mean, it's the playoffs. And being the ultimate competitor, you want to be out there to help your team. But if you're not helping the team, then you need to figure it out.
Yeah, I mean,
I get that.
80% of Freddie is better than 100% of somebody else.
Probably.
Well, maybe not. I mean, we don't know that.
Depends on who the guy was going to be playing third base, which at the time was Josh Donaldson. So,
yeah.
Look, what we have heard, and it's not just Ronald Acuna Jr., by the way. He's not the only one who's out here, and they're not necessarily taking shots at Freddie.
It's a lot easier to have these conversations, and I've noticed it. I mean, there were things said about Jason Hayward after he left. It's a sports-specific phenomenon. When people are gone, stuff starts to come out about them and their
because you don't have to work with them anymore. You don't have to go to work with this guy every day. And look.
So what are you going to say about me when I'm gone?
Freddie Freeman was leading the way that he thought he needed to lead. Okay. It may not have been the right way, but it was Freddie's way.
But
and
at some point, though, isn't that when somebody pulls Freddie to the side?
Like who?
Well, ideally your manager.
Manager, look, and Bobby Cox was not a guy who was in the clubhouse policing guys either, but you had Maddox, Glavin, and Smoltz, and Justice. You had a lot of veterans in there. How many veterans were in the clubhouse last year? Veterans.
Not enough.
One. This is what I'm saying is Freddie didn't have anybody to pull him aside and say, hey, man, we did it. This maybe Charlie Morton potentially could have said, hey, man,
but this was his first year.
Yeah. Your leadership style may be a little bit too much. Let's try it this other way. This worked for us and another organization or whatever, but there was nobody else to give him that.
Or in fewer words, ease up.
The guy who needed to do it, unfortunately, just wasn't there all the time. It's Chipper Jones. Because Chipper and Freddie, really close, but he probably didn't see Freddie's leadership style as much as he probably needed to in order to give him that information. Mm-hmm. That's neither here nor there. My point is that Freddie led the way that Freddie thought he was supposed to lead. Now, one of the other things that came out was, Freddie would get to the ballpark. Freddie did his work. Freddie went home because he had Charlie and Chelsea and a family. And Freddie was all about his family, which I have no qualms with. But the difference in Matt Olson is Matt Olson was out on the golf course, playing with a bunch of players, kind of getting into that. I feel like Matt Olson's personality is going to fit better with this team's personality than Freddie's did. Freddie was so awkward when he tried to do the chop and the mix. He was so awkward.
That wasn't his thing.
It's not his thing. He tried, and I give him credit for trying to, ingrain himself into that side of the team. Mm-hmm. But
that wasn't his thing.
It's not.
It wasn't his thing. He didn't like it.
Nope.
He would just have soon none of them be doing it.
Yep.
Wasn't his thing.
But at least he didn't say, hey, guys, we're not doing that bull crap. I'll give him that.
Well, but I don't think Marcel Ozuna and some of the other guys
we're going to let him say it.
Yeah. So
I get it. I mean, anyway, got just a minute or so left. Let's move on to another topic. I told you we weren't going to have time to do both.
Yeah. Want to mention, so I got a text from Mike Keith earlier today. Did you know we were coming to Columbia this weekend? I'm like, no, I didn't know we were coming to Columbia this weekend. The official Titans podcast live tour begins Saturday in Columbia. There's an article up on the website, mainstreetmedia.com. Saturday at 3:00 at the Columbia Welcome Center, 713 North Main Street on the square.
Under the Polk sign, baby.
Okay, so that's where it is.
No, the Polk sign is inside the building.
Oh, okay. All right. Podcast co-host Mike Keith and Amy Wells will be joined by
next door to the police station. In the event anyone knows where the police station is.
Reference point, yeah. Mike and Amy will be joined by Titans Radio color analyst Dave McGinnis and Rhett Bryan, also of Titans Radio. The public is invited. There will be Titans giveaways 3 to 5 at the Welcome Center. Again, this is the first of 6 OTP live tour stops. So check that out Saturday. Should be fun.
Yes, it should. We'll be back on Main Street Sports today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint, right after this with Jeff Calkins of the Daily Memphian. Stick around.
Welcome back to another Montgomery County Sports Roundup. I'm Brady McAtamney, and here's what's been going on in the area. Starting on the baseball field, Clarksville High swept a doubleheader over West Creek, including a resounding 26-1 victory. After losing a pair of games to Goodpasture, Clarksville Academy won 4 consecutive games, scoring at least 9 runs in each game. Montgomery Central took games from Creekwood, Kenwood, and Whitehouse, while Rossview took big wins over Independence, Dixon County, and Northeast. However, Northeast answered by topping the Hawks the next night. Rossview is dominating on the soccer pitch, however, having raced out to a 6-0 record. They've gotten hat tricks from 3 different players in 3 of their last 4 wins. In similar fashion, Clarksville took a 10-1 win over Northwest. Clarksville has been the team to beat on the softball field. At 13-2, they've been driven by starting pitcher Emberly Nichols, who struck out 25 combined batters in a 2-game stretch last week. This has been your Montgomery County Sports Update. For more, visit mainstreetpreps.com and mainstreetclarksville.com, or follow me on Twitter at Brady_MSP.
Next week in the Dixon Post, we're going to have the all-county girls basketball team, as well as we're going to have some photos from last week's Dixon versus Creekwood baseball game. We're going to try and get some tennis photos and some track and field photos for local high school sports, also in both of those, in that paper. Now, in the Cheatham County Exchange, we're also going to have the all-county girls team, as well as some Harpeth and Sycamore baseball. Now, I can't promise anything else. The weather's been nasty outside, but I'm really hoping we can get out and cover a few other games. We got some soccer and some softball that's on the schedule this week. Really hope we can make our way over there and get those games in. We're also in both papers. I'm going to keep this going. I've been doing the opinion articles. I'm going to keep that going in both papers. But make sure you check out the Dixon Post and Cheatham County Exchange.
I am Blaine Keller with Main Street Preps, and this is your Robertson County Roundup. Be sure to pick up a copy of the Robertson County Connection or stay tuned to mainstreetpreps.com for any and all coverage of Robertson County sports. A longtime Robertson County educator has been named the new executive director of the TSSAA. A unanimous decision was made Wednesday to replace Bernard Childress's vacant seat with Mark Reeves. Reeves lives in Springfield, has 2 children that attend Springfield High School, and was an assistant principal at East Robertson in Springfield. He was the Yellow Jackets wrestling coach for 9 seasons and served as Springfield's assistant football coach for 4 years. Other news to watch out for: a big district softball tilt between Clarksville and Springfield on Thursday, and an Alabama baseball commit that recently transferred from Gallatin to Christian Community School. For any and all coverage of Robertson County sports, stay tuned to mainstreetpreps.com or follow me on Twitter at sports_BK.
Welcome back in. Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Chris Yao alongside Mo Patton and JP Plant in the cockpit with all the buttons that need pushing. Not all the buttons.
Oh, you've got the buttons.
Yeah.
You just can't necessarily push them.
They just don't all work, unfortunately, right now. That's okay. We'll get there. We'll get there.
That one works.
There you go. Now get to do something we don't normally do, and that is talk about the surging Memphis Grizzlies, who have been on quite the roll since the start of the year. Since 2022 started, this team has just absolutely been dominant in the National Basketball Association. And to talk about them, we're going to bring in Daily Memphian columnist Geoff Calkins. Geoff, how are you, man?
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
It's got to be a lot of fun covering this team.
Yeah, it is a lot of fun. It's a different experience because it's unexpected. You know, we thought the team was going to be better this year, but in all reality, there was the hope that, hey, maybe they'll be good enough to finish 6th in the West and avoid the play-in, which they were in last year. The idea that they would finish 2nd in the entire league was like, it just snuck up on everybody, including Memphis fans. And then you have this, you know, they play with such joy. It's a real delight to watch them. On the one hand, you have a incandescent superstar like Ja Morant, and so that's kind of fun. Like you get that. But then also, particularly as Ja has missed so many games, you have this incredible team basketball that they play, where they're delighting each other's accomplishments and pulling for one another and going crazy on the bench when another player succeeds. And so you've got this sort of best of all worlds, that you have the star, but then you have maybe the most appealing team in some ways that we've ever had here. It's been a blast.
This team plays its final road game of the season tonight at Denver. It's an 8:00 start. Again, it's on Valley Sports Southeast. Be sure and check that out. They return home Saturday and Sunday for games against New Orleans and Boston before heading into the postseason as the number 2 seed out of the West. And Geoff, I saw a number earlier this week that I just thought was amazing. Memphis is 55-24 on the year. In games in which Ja Morant has not played, the Grizzlies are 20-2, which I know comes as no surprise to you, but that just my jaw dropped literally when I saw that. Again, you're talking about, as you said, an incandescent star in this league, and you've won 20 of 22 games that he didn't play in.
Yeah. Now, some of it is because, you look at the schedule of those 22 games, and there were some games where you're either playing lesser teams or you were playing teams without their stars. But the truth of the matter is they just beat Milwaukee with Giannis when they didn't have Ja. They just beat the Nets when they had KD and Kyrie, and both went off, and the Grizzlies didn't have Ja. It's a testament to, obviously, the rest of the team, how good they can be without Ja. There was some early on discussion of, is this team just Ja? Well, it's clearly not just Ja. And in fact, in some ways, no one would make the argument. It's silly to say they're better without Ja.
Actually, a number of people did make that argument earlier in the year.
Said it earlier, but it's just stupid. Their ceiling is much higher with Ja, but there are aspects of the team that are better when Ja doesn't play, particularly defensively. People tend to forget that defense matters. It's half the game, and they are decidedly better defensively when Ja doesn't play. Much like Atlanta would be better defensively if Trae Young didn't play, or the Warriors would be better defensively if Steph Curry didn't play, or But the Ja is not a great defensive player, so that, and then they actually shoot better from three when Ja doesn't play either, maybe because the ball moves better, or and so there actually are things that they do better when Ja is not in the lineup. But obviously, their highest and best potential is when Ja is part of the grand scheme, because he can get to the rim wherever he wants. He can set people up. He is a superstar. But it's an interesting dilemma because, Ja's been missing a bunch of games here, and there's a question as to whether he will, he's not going to play tonight, but whether he will get any games in before the playoffs begin. And, we'll see, obviously, because there's only two after this.
Well, is there any reason to play him? You've locked up the number 2 seed, and there's, rest him, right?
No, the only reason to play him would be if you think there's any value in other words, Dillon Brooks missed much of the season. And so when Ja was playing, Dillon was not here. Now Dillon's playing and Ja is not here. So if you are someone who believes, and I think this can be wildly overstated, but if you're someone who believes, gosh, it'd be good to get a game in with these guys on the court together, the whole group on the court together, that would be a reason to play him. My own sense is that, listen, they're going to be able to practice all next week while the play-in's going on. It's not like, a game is that different. If they need to get used to each other again, reacclimate to each other, they can do that in practice. There's no need to certainly rush Ja back or have him in a game. I think the benefits of that can be overstated when you consider that, they're going to have weaker practice when they can integrate these guys.
What's interesting about this team is, they are the second highest scoring team in the league, behind Minnesota, who is going to have to play in the play-in, by the way, the play-in tournament more than likely. That being said, tonight against Denver's a team trying to stay out of that play-in tournament. And as the 6th seed, of course, Minnesota sitting behind them with 45 wins. Of course, it would be very difficult for Minnesota to jump into that number 6 hole. But Denver is playing for something tonight, whereas, again, Memphis kind of has everything that they need locked up. Does that make a difference tonight?
Well, I think so. I think it makes some difference. But the amazing thing is the Grizzlies now haven't had much to play for
a while.
For a little while. They didn't have anything to play for, and maybe the most remarkable game of the season was Friday. They're playing without 4 starters. The only starter who they had was Dillon Brooks. Their coach was ejected during the game. They didn't have a point guard at all suited up, and they're playing the best team in the league, Phoenix, with all of their players. Phoenix did not rest anyone, and my God, they beat them. Plus, and in that game, the Grizzlies had nothing to play for. They're locked into the second.
And then you
broke
can
argue
them apparently because Phoenix went to Oklahoma City and lost. So apparently, you not only did you beat them, but you broke them.
You broke them, exactly. So that was pretty astonishing. But that's sort of who they are. Like, they don't we'll see how it translates into the playoffs because that's a different animal. But they never say die. They believe that whoever is there can do what needs to be done. I don't know that I would bet on the Grizzlies tonight because as you point out, Denver has something to play for. Memphis does not. But it's been that way for a little bit now, and that doesn't seem to slow them down.
Speaking with Jeff Calkins of the Daily Memphian here on Main Street Sports today, talking a little Grizzlies. And Jeff, that Saturday matchup as New Orleans comes to the FedEx Forum has to have a little juice to it when you talk about those two teams having had the top two draft picks in the 2019 draft, was it? And one of those guys has been a bit more available this year than the other. I mean, you got to wonder what New Orleans thinks.
To me, the situation there is, I don't think you can blame New Orleans for taking Zion Williamson. I think every single team, had they gotten the first pick in that draft, would have taken Zion Williamson. Just like, in the Greg Oden, Kevin Durant draft, every single team would have taken Greg Oden. It wasn't it turned out unlucky that you got the first pick as opposed to the second pick in the Greg Oden draft and in this draft. But I think the Grizzlies, if they had the number one pick, they would have taken Zion too. Everyone would have taken Zion. And by the way, when he's been healthy, he's been fabulous. He's just not healthy. And then, there's some attitude questions. Is he all in? We've seen what J.J. Redick is criticizing him for not being a great teammate. And so there's all kinds of reasons that Memphis fans are feeling incredibly fortunate that they got the second pick as opposed to the first pick. Because Ja is playing, here we are. Ja will be playing Saturday. Zion will not. Ja is going to sign a Supermax extension after this season. We'll see what Zion does. I think it'll be really tricky, complicated. It feels like he already wants out of there. And so, yes, it's a very different situation. And, on draft night, on lottery night, Memphis was very happy to get the 2 because they jumped up from 8 or something to get the number 2 pick. But you saw this massive celebration in New Orleans when they got Zion. And it has certainly not been what they had hoped.
Speaking here with Daily Memphian columnist Jeff Calkins on Main Street Sports today. Jeff, you talked about the ceiling with this team with Ja Morant is much higher than without. What is that ceiling?
Well, I think the ceiling's a title. I think, and I really do mean this. I think with this team, the range of possibilities is extraordinary. I can absolutely imagine them losing in the first round to the Minnesota Timberwolves. Let's just say the T-Wolves can, beat the Clippers in the play-in game, and then the T-Wolves play the Grizzlies. Those teams T-Wolves have beaten them sometimes during this year, and they've got a lot of explosive young talent. And so I think one of the range, I wouldn't predict it. I guess I would predict whether it's the Clippers or the Timberwolves or whomever. I predict the Grizzlies win that series, but you can imagine them losing that series. You can also imagine them winning the title because, and that's not really because they're some super team. They're a very good team, incredibly young, very good team. But you look around, there's not a juggernaut. One of the wonderful things about the NBA this year is there is no, Kevin Durant Warriors. There's no team that is like, my God, how are we going to keep up with them? Phoenix has been really good and has been demonstrably the best team in the league this year, unquestionably. But they're not terrifying. Could I imagine the Grizzlies knocking off Phoenix? Yeah, I could imagine them knocking off Phoenix. So to me, the amazing thing about this team is the range of possibilities is it's the whole deal. It's losing in the first round and it's winning the championship. If I were predicting, I'd probably predict that they'd, lose in the Western Conference Finals. But, I could see a whole range of possibilities.
Do you think the experience of the Phoenix Suns in with so much on the line, would that be one of the deciding factors for their losing in the Western Conference Finals if they did?
Well, I think the Suns, it's not even just an experience. They're good. The Suns have been, by any metric you want to look at, they've been the best team in the league this year. And they fit together, they guard, they They're a bunch of really good players who play really well together. And so I think that's the reason that almost everybody, if it came down to Memphis against Phoenix in the Western Conference Finals, everyone would pick Phoenix. But again, they're not terrifying. They're really good, but they're not terrifying. And then you have, with Chris Paul, you never know. It feels like he's hamstring issues or one injury issue or another, every season. And so how will
CALKINS with us here on Main Street Sports today. Jeff, tell folks where they can find you and find your work. We are big fans of the Daily Memphian here, subscribers. So we appreciate what you've been doing.
Well, we appreciate that. Yeah. Basically what happened is given the state of the newspaper industry with so many newspapers and people know, struggling. I was at the Commercial Appeal for a long time. And then I jumped to this new nonprofit newspaper called the Daily Memphian. And it's been good, dailymemphian.com. And you can find me on Twitter at Jeff. It's the weird spelling, GEOFF_Calkins. But always good to be on with you. And I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Everybody here knows how to spell GEOFF because of Jeff Swaim. So that's exactly the positive.
Right. That's right.
Can you imagine?
Fantastic. Yeah.
Can you imagine Bill Street if the Memphis Grizzlies were taking home the NBA title? I could not imagine the NBA Finals in Memphis.
It's one of the fun things. Like people here want to win a NCAA title, of course. But one of the nice things about the NBA is you get to play at home. If they ever get to even if they get to the final, it'll be right here at Memphis, and it'll be absolutely a lot of fun.
And you can literally, if you've not been, you can literally step out of FedEx Forum right onto Beale Street. I mean, it's fantastic.
It's right there.
Yeah.
Jeff, thanks so much.
All right.
Well,
thank you. I appreciate it. Always good to be on. Yep. Bye-bye.
Man, I can't, just like when the Preds were in the Stanley Cup Finals. I mean, you step out of Bridgestone right there on the Broadway and everybody's out there watching the game on big screens. I mean, it's just,
I cannot imagine Beale Street.
It will be incredible.
It would be.
All right, let's take a quick break. When we come back, we'll talk about tonight's Braves game as they open the season against the Cincinnati Reds. So stick around. Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint, comes back after this. Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint treats your orthopedic injuries and existing conditions. Our trained physicians will get you back in the game faster. Contact us at 931-381-2663 or www.mtbj.net. Hey folks, while we take a quick break from the show, I want to tell you about our friends over at Custom Stone Handlers in downtown Columbia. Ed Rich and his team at Custom Stone Handlers believe in leadership. And outside of the military, our greatest leader building platform is sports. Custom Stone Handlers proudly encourages young people to get in the game. You can contact them today at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com.
Jones & Lang Sporting Goods here in Columbia has been outfitting teams, officials, and anybody else from T-ball to college for 50-plus years. Be sure and check them out at 931-388-8060 or online at jonesandlang.com. Jones & Lang Sporting Goods, the look of a winner.
Zion Christian Academy, ZionEagles.org or 931-388-5731. You can schedule your appointment. Go tour their campus. It is beautiful over there, and you're definitely going to want to see it. Again, it's ZionEagles.org. Give them a call, 931-388-5731, and schedule your tour today.
Are you an enthusiastic sports fan? Want to have fun and get in on the action?
Heck yes, that'd be awesome.
Have great attention to detail? Want to stay active?
Definitely.
Want to give back to the student athletes in your community?
Obviously, yes.
Then you'd make an excellent high school sports official. We need more officials in Tennessee, because with no high school officials, there are no high school sports. Sign up today at highschoolofficials.com.
Mid-Tennessee Bone & Joint has been the official sports medicine provider for Maury County Schools for more than 40 years. We specialize in orthopedic injuries, and our Ortho Quick walk-in service lets you bypass the ER. Visit us online at www.mtbj.net. Welcome back in the final segment on this Thursday edition of Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone & Joint. Chris Yao, Mo Patton, JP Plant. Do I need to talk through this whole segment just to even it out? Or
I'll let you.
Oh, man. Thanks for sticking around with us throughout today's show. It's going to be a great show tomorrow as well, as we get a chance to talk to Jeff Him of the Nashville Sounds, and we'll talk a little bit about the NFL draft with Mike Tillier. So make sure to join us tomorrow. Second verse, same as the first. Same bat time, same bat channel. As we get ready to talk about the Atlanta Braves hosting the Cincinnati Reds tonight at 7:08 on ESPN2, we have to give you this day in Braves history. What happened, Mo?
April 7th, 2004, Atlanta first baseman Adam LaRoche picked up the first 2 hits of his major league career, and they came in the same inning of the Braves' 18-10 win over the visiting Mets. During an 11-run fourth, LaRoche singled and scored to cut into a 6-3 deficit, then added a 2-out, 2-run double to make it a 9-6 game in favor of the Braves.
We could have just not scored any other runs and just won 11-10. It would have been a lot, quicker.
Yeah, right. Yeah, but we'll take it. Anytime you beat the Mets, it's a good thing.
No doubt.
Whether it's 2004 or 2022.
Exactly. I don't have feelings one way or the other toward the Cincinnati Reds, so I'm not going to.
I don't have any extra feelings toward the Cincinnati Reds, especially now that Sonny Gray is a Minnesota Twin.
There's that. Max Fried headed to the bump tonight, the left-hander. He will be met by Tyler Mahle,
I think.
it's
Mahle. I'm not entirely sure.
If we don't just know who your ace is, that might be a problem. I mean, seriously, like your opening day starter is a guy that we don't even know how to pronounce his name because we've never heard of him. I have friends who are Reds fans, and
you're probably not making.
I give him a little bit of ribbing a little, but he's one of those guys who hates Bob Castellini. He's like, sell the team, because you're basically you're Pittsburgh West at this point, and unfortunately, they've got 4 guys on the injured list: Mike Minor, Lucas Sims, Luis Castillo, and Justin Dunn, all starting pitchers starting the season on the injured list. So this is like their 5th day starter.
Goodness, that's not how you want to start the season. So the Braves theoretically should be in pretty good shape tonight.
One would think with a lineup that looks like we all wondered what was it going to look like. Now we know. Leading off, playing right field, be Eddie Rosario. Batting second, your first baseman.
We've seen this before.
Matty Olson. Okay. Because in the 3-hole, you've got third baseman, a third baseman in the 3-hole in Atlanta.
That never happened.
Who does that? Austin Riley, your left fielder, Marcelo Zuna in the cleanup spot, followed by Ozzie Albies and Adam Duvall. Duvall playing center. We've got to be the only team in the history of America to have their DH hitting 8th. Like, that's who does that?
Well, when you're putting the guys on the field that they're putting on the field,
it's like, well, who's the extra? We could just let Max hit today. I mean, literally, you could let Max Fried hit today, and it would probably be as productive.
It wouldn't be any worse, than Alex Dickerson in the 8-hole at DH, followed by Dansby Swanson at 9. Yeah,
Travis Darno, by the way, hitting 7th. I failed to mention.
Yeah, I feel like Max is going to hit at some point this year. And I would have just as soon it been tonight.
I was about to say, I don't know why you're not throwing him out there against Tyler Mahle or whatever his name is.
I mean, it would have been nice to kind of keep that hashtag pitchers who rake alive tonight.
At least one more time.
Yeah.
Give us one more. But, it's almost hard to get excited about a game where you're facing Tyler Mahle, but it would be even more difficult if they weren't running out there in gold trimmed jerseys as the defending world champs, Bo.
Yeah. I'm liking this graphic that they put out with the starting lineup that's kind of rimmed in gold
with the gold.
There's a lot of gold on this graphic. They are riding that, and as well they should.
And why would you not, right?
Yeah, exactly. So, have you seen a Reds lineup?
I have, and I can give it to you. I just, let's see here. They're leading off Jonathan India, second baseman.
Rookie of the year out of Florida.
Aristides Aquino will hit second.
That guy's good.
Yeah, he hit 190 last year.
Well, he killed us.
I know, right? Well, that's how it usually goes. That's why I'm worried more than I probably should be. He'll play in right field, and then you've got Tommy Pham.
That guy's good. I didn't realize he was over there this year.
And then, of course, Votto, who was an MVP candidate at times last year, hitting cleanup. Then you've got Tyler Stevenson, who's pretty good as well. Hit 286 last year, catching and batting 5th. Senzel.
Nick Senzel. Isn't he from Knoxville?
You know what? I think he might be he's a future Brave.
He played at UT.
Yeah, he's a future Brave. He's from Atlanta. At some point, he will be a Brave. And then
no, because this says education UT and Farragut. He was born in Atlanta.
Born in Atlanta.
He was born in Atlanta, but he played his high school ball at Farragut.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, okay.
I was gonna say that because I remembered seeing Farragut tweet that he had just learned that he was going to be a big leaguer in the last spring training game, and they were giving him hugs in the dugout and all that stuff. So I thought that's where he was, but then I looked at and saw Atlanta, Georgia. But anyway, he was born in Atlanta, so he's a future Brave. Moose will DH and hit 7th. Kyle Farmer will be in the 8-hole playing shortstop. And then the third baseman, Brandon Drury, who last year hit 274 with 4 home runs and 14 RBIs. I don't think he played very often for the Toronto Blue Jays.
So Moustakas is DHing after being signed by the Reds as a second baseman.
Well,
longtime third baseman, I think, with Kansas City and Milwaukee. I always thought that was odd.
But then you've got India at second, so it's kind of hard to, with a guy who can steal 30 bases,
and actually play second base defensively.
Right. Yeah. So I think it worked out for the Reds, don't you? I mean,
yeah.
All right. Before the season starts, how many wins the Braves get this year?
Oh, goodness. 96.
You got a guess? 99, going close to the century mark. I'm going 92. I think they win 92 because I'm telling you, man, the NL East is rough.
We need to write these down.
So yeah, we'll come back to them at the end of the year. But I've got 92, 96, 99 from JP. I hope he's right.
I'd have no problem with him being right. Yeah.
Again, that game is tonight, 7:08 first pitch on ESPN2. Y'all go check it out. Come back tomorrow on Main Street Sports Day, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. For JP and Mo, I'm Chris Yousling. Have a great day. We'll see you then.